Hello everyone. Today we are going to study about selection structure. Selection structure is basically used in programming languages where we have to make a decision about something. For example, if you can say today is a weekday or a weekend, and based on that you can decide what activity to do. So if it's a weekday, you go to work. If it's a weekend, you go to park. Now in a computer program, we also have to make these decisions. And the way we can make these decisions is through selection structure. We briefly talked about selection structure. Before. So what selection structure is consider you have to make a decision. This is your daily routine, and you make a decision if is weekday, right? And if it is a weekday, then you basically go to work. Or if it's a weekend, so if weekday turns out to be true, you do go to work. And on the contrary, if the weekday turns out to be false, you go to park, right? So this is the kind of decision we make in the program also, and it's represented by this flowchart. Now in a computer programming language, there are multiple ways of decision making. So for example, we can make decisions on what we call a single branch statement, right? So what we can do is, let's suppose if we have a single branch, consider a scenario that let's suppose I have to do certain work and I can skip that work based on a certain condition, but there is no alternative to that work. What I mean is, let's just suppose today I'm fasting, so I can skip my lunch. So you have to make a decision. Can eat lunch, right? So this is a decision point. Let's suppose if I'm fasting, then the decision comes out to be true, because in fasting I cannot eat my lunch. So I can skip that part, right? No lunch. But if I am not fasting, that means I can eat my lunch. So I come here and I say lunch. And I continue my program as usual, So for example, over here, I can say eat breakfast. And over here, maybe we can say eat dinner. So I eat my breakfast, I come here, and I decide whether I should eat lunch or not. And based on my decision, I can either eat lunch or I skip that. So there is no alternative, if you see here. So this is a single branch statement. The way we do it in programming language, especially in case of Python, for example, is we use the if statement. So this is the if statement, and then there is a certain condition I need to check. And what that condition is, let's suppose in this case, can I eat? If this is equals true, then I say, let's suppose I just print out a statement lunch. And if not, I continue on with my program. So I say print, let's say dinner, right? And over here I can say print breakfast based on my flowchart before. So if you see here, there's only single statement. I either do this work or I skip it. There's no alternative, right? If I don't eat lunch, I don't do anything else. So this is called a single branch statement or single branch decision making. There is another way of doing things which is called double branch. So in a double branch or two branch statement, we can also call it two branch statement. What we basically do is we have an alternative to do one thing or another. For example, let's just take an example of let's say you wake up, and based on what day it is, you make certain decisions. So in this case, we say the condition we want to check is if is weekday, right? And if it's a weekday, if this condition is correct, we go to office. Okay? Or school, whatever. And if it's a weekend, that means this condition is false, we do something else, which is go to park. And then let's just say later on we sleep, right? So we wake up, we decide what day it is. If it's a weekday, we go to office, and if it's a weekend, we go to park. So there is an alternative to whatever we do, right? So this is a double branch. There are two branches. In a previous one, we are doing only one thing. We either skip it or do it. But in this case, if we don't go to office, we go to park. So there is an alternative option available for us if the condition is not met. So this is an example of a double branch. So the way we can do it in Python is something like this, right? So based on this flow chart, for example, we say print wake up. Then we decide if we say is weekday, it's our check, equals true if it is weekday. Then what we do is, then we say office, go to office, right? But if it is not a weekday, else we go to park, right? So here you see, and then later on we continue on with our program. We say print, let's just say sleep, correct? So if you see here, we are checking if it's a weekday. If it is true, we go to office. If it's false, that means it's going to fall down to this statement. We go to park. So there is an alternative, right? Based on the condition, we either do one thing or the other. So that is an example of a double branch selection statement. multiple branch. Now what does that mean? What it means is it's actually a combination of multiple if-else statements. So let's suppose you have to decide on what activity you want to do. So you wake up, for example, in the morning, and then after you wake up, you check the weather, right? And the weather says, let's just check if it's raining outside. This is our condition. Now, if you say you want to do one thing if it's raining, for example, if the raining condition is met, you basically take umbrella, right? So you want to decide what to take. So you take umbrella, okay? But if it is not raining, then we don't know what's happening outside. Is it sunny? It is snowing outside, or is there some other condition, right? There are thunderstorms and whatnot, right? So based on that, let's suppose we need to decide what as accessory we wanna take with us. So here there's gonna be something, right? But that something can be another condition, right? So if you consider this as a big block here, inside this big block, we can make another check. For example, we can go here and say, is snow, right? So this is another check. And if it is snowing, then we basically take our coat, or any warm clothes. And if it is not, then if it's not snowing, we say if snow equals yes, you have to take a coat with you. But if snowing is no, then you can just take your sunglasses, right? But because that just means it's sunny outside. So you take your sunglasses and you move on, right? So this is an example of a nested structure, but it demonstrates multiple branch structure as well, because you have one branch here, but if it's not raining in this case, you go and check some other conditions, and within this one there could be other conditions inside here, for example. So you can go as much deep as you want, but this is just a big picture example. Now let's take a look at this same thing in Python code, how it's going to look like. So we say, again, we print our statement, wake up, and we check a condition. Let's just say weather equals rain. Then we print umbrella, right? And if it is false, then we make another if check, where we say weather equals snow. Then we print what? Coat, right? Some warmer clothes. And if nothing else matches, then we say else print sunglasses, right? So in this case, you have a multiple branch structure, and you can do multiple else statements if you want to check weather equals thunderstorm, if you want to check weather equals let's say tornado, or weather equals flood, or whatever the case may be. You can keep on adding more else statements, these statements. And this will be the last default. If nothing else matches, you can just add this statement so that eventually it will match this one if nothing else matches. So that's an example of a multiple branch structure.